This is Woodhorn Country Park. This is the first time we've been here. We didn't even actually know it existed. It was my daughter actually who introduced us to it. As an area, it has quite an interesting history. Beyond the other side of the trees, there is a museum called the WOODHORN Museum. Now, originally, this was actually the mining site, and many of the buildings were preserved. And you can actually go along and you can actually see how the miners used to, they don't have the shafts anymore, but the buildings themselves are there. And I suspect, if you go back a few centuries, this whole area would just be one big coal seam. The actual park may well have been just an open cast mine. Certainly it doesn't look natural. I think it has been developed and the landscape has been, there's a lot of trees and wildlife and plants have been planted. So you can't really see what it originally looked like. It's changed vastly. But the fact is, we looked around, there was quite a lot of swans, ducks. They're friendly enough. If as long as there's bread in the go, they were more than happy to come up and eat your bread. You have to watch out that if you're trying to feed them by hand, you might get your hand picked. But they're friendly enough. I'm told also that by the signpost that the lake is deep water. Now, I didn't decide to jump in to find out how deep it was, but we'll just take it for example that it was deep. We know in the past that people have been out there in boats doing different sailing activities and such like. So it was quite interesting. It's quite a big area. I was quite surprised. In fact, there is even a light gauge railway that actually goes through past of it. It starts off at the museum and just works its way around partly around the lake. So it's quite a tourist area. And where we were at, there was a small premium inn where we managed to get a cup of tea and sit down and just think about what we're going to do and try and get some bread so we can feed the swans. But it's a lovely place to spend an hour or two. Usually you go to a lake and there's maybe only one or two swans, but here there was loads. I reckon there's quite a lot of wildlife, and maybe probably more than what we saw. And it kept, they knew to come up. Whenever there was bread on the go, they came wandering up. Then they would go back down. Every time I tried to film one of them, because I didn't have any bread with me, they turned round and walk off. It was funny. But, you could get up quite close to them and film them. So it was good. It was good. I don't think I had... I managed to get away with it being picked. And on the whole, I don't think too many people experienced that. But they came along, the kids and everything, and they had loads of bread to feed them. So it's great. You see them coming up to people and in mass. And once they got fed, in mass, they went back into the water. They weren't daft by no means. The local inhabitants were definitely interesting. There was one particular bird that wandered over to us. I think she was hoping that she was going to get fed, but when she realised there was nothing on the glow, she decided to slowly wander off, shake her feathers at me, waggle her tail as if to say, "Stuff you." Yeah, there she goes. In fact, she might well have been, some of her brood might have been local, and she just sort of wanders off casually. Nothing on the go, so tough, I'm leaving. The expression was almost ladylike, walk as she wanders off. There was no bread in the go, so she left us. I think the next time I'll take along some bread and photograph them as they're feeding, get right up and close with them. There she is. She's starting to wander right back into the lake again. She's had her fill. This guy wasn't feeding me, so I'm not entertaining him. There was one particular bird that came up to me And I wasn't too sure I was going to get picked or not, but she decided, nah, no bread. So she wanders off. I think this is what you call the brush off in the bird world. And she just wanders off as well. Not a care in the world. I think if the next time I've got to take some bread with me. So when they come up, I can photograph them while they're eating. Because every time I pointed the camera at them, they just wandered off. Not interested. They were only there for the bread.